This is the first time I've ever been in a room full of black lawyers. For this conference, we're the centre of the experience, not on the margins, not on the sidelines.
Who's been a good mentor for you?
Go and find 3 people, meet them, connect with them and see what you can do to help.
We don't have enough people, black people, at the top.
I think that's changing, and it's all about talent. The role of recruiters is absolutely...
Hello and welcome to Montresor Legal's podcast. Today we are joined by Sharon Thomas, who's the founder of the Black Counsel Forum, and we're going to be talking a little bit about her journey as a lawyer and a general counsel and how she's led to founding BCF. And I'm joined as well by Hannah Olushaitan, also from Montresor. If you'd like to give a quick intro, Han.
Yeah, so my name is Hannah Olushaitan. I have been working in legal recruitment for just over 4 years now. I've been at Montresor Legal since last year, where I've been seconded to international law firm Gowling, and I work on flexible resourcing for clients' comments.
Cool, thanks Hannah. So Sharon, if we could maybe start just with a bit of background on the Black Counsel Forum and essentially the reason for you setting that up.
Oh, thanks Josh. Thanks so much for inviting me as your guest today. I'm a solicitor. I'm about 20 odd years qualified. Just give my age away by telling you exactly.
Don't look a day over 19 years qualified.
Oh yeah. I worked in-house for most of my career. My last role being associate general counsel at a tech company. I've always been in the tech and outsourcing industry as an in-house lawyer. And last year I took the step of setting up the Black Counsel Forum. I did that because I had been going to a conference in the States for about 10 years or so called Chart Your Own Course, CYOC, and I think it had a transformational impact on my career. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to bring that concept to the UK. I saw a gap in the market and I saw a need for that kind of a career conference targeted at black lawyers, targeted at lawyers of colour. And so I founded the first Black Counsel Forum, which is, as I said, a careers conference for lawyers. And we had our first inaugural conference last year, September, and we're having our second annual conference in a couple of weeks' time, the end of this month.
Brilliant. No, that's great. And obviously the reason we're speaking is because we are going to be involved in the latest edition of BCF as a sponsor, so we're really looking forward to that. What else can we expect on the day?
I think it's going to be an amazing and unique, transformative experience, if I say so myself.
sounds good.
Don't want to sound all salesy, but I think it is quite a unique experience. It's a career development experience. It's a professional development experience, but one that is targeted at the lived experience of black lawyers. And the faculty is made up of talented black lawyers, mainly very experienced partners, general counsel, senior associates, all coming together and sharing their knowledge, their inside track know-how about how to build a career. And they've done it. They've walked that path. So they are the people that are best qualified to share that knowledge. I think quite often when you are in a minority group in any country, it doesn't matter what the context it is, sometimes you're not always plugged in enough to the right networks. And so sometimes career know-how, knowledge and networks comes to you, but it comes to you quite late in the day. And what I'm trying to do is to make sure that that knowledge and know-how that we have within that particular community is shared early on in people's careers, because that's going to change people's career trajectories. But as well as professional development, and we've got about 15 different sessions going on at the conference, so people will be learning for barristers we've got a session on how to improve your profile and thereby how to increase your earnings. We've got a session for associates where we're going to have over 100 associates, black associates from a wide range of law firms. All of the large firms are represented there, and quite a few of the smaller ones as well, sort of West End firms and so on. So we've got a really good spread of associates, and they're going to be in a room together just working through, collaborating on some of the issues, some of the typical issues we hear black associates talking about. And so I think that's quite a unique experience. I'm not sure if that's been done before. And also Black Counsel Forum provides a safe space. You know, we say it's a Chatham House rules environment, so that people feel comfortable to talk with candour about those issues. I think sometimes as a black lawyer, or a lawyer from any sort of marginalised community, sometimes, you know, when you talk about your experiences and other people don't share those lived experiences, it can mean that people gaslight you, or just, you know, say that what you're saying doesn't have credibility because it's not an experience that they share. But here you are, you're going to be in a room full of people that look like you, that have walked the walk that you want to walk, or that you have walked, and they're saying, yeah, this happened to me and this is how I dealt with it. So I think it's going to be, and apart from all of that learning experience, we're going to have a lot of fun.
That's good.
We're going to have a lot of fun, from doing headshots to partying in the evening. We've got like a soca workout early in the morning. That's for young people. I won't be getting up that early.
You're going to be in that.
You can join. Sweat in the City will be doing their thing. We've got, you know, great DJs. You know what? I think as a community, we like to dance and party. So there's a lot of serious stuff going on, but also the entertainment is kind of, you know, it's kind of targeted at, I know, what we like to do and the kind of music that we enjoy, because, you know, for this conference, we're the centre of the experience. We're not on the margins, not on the sidelines. It's about black lawyers. It's just 2 days where it's all about you.
That sounds good. You might have to send me some playlists before, and help me get up to speed. We
can help Josh learn the candy. As long as he learns the candy, that's fine. He's going to learn the candy beforehand.
Like behind. I'll just act like I don't know him.
They do that to me.
Oh, funny.
So networking, we all know, is crucial in the legal profession. Just wanted to understand, I think you touched on it a little bit, but we know it's a unique platform for lawyers of black heritage to connect and collaborate with the legal industry, but want to know how that's provided by the Black Counsel Forum.
Well, I think the first thing I'd say is that for a lot of black lawyers, they normally will say to me and to others that, look, when I'm at work, it can be quite isolating. Most organisations, you might find that you're the only black lawyer in that organisation, or one of two, one of three, like, then, you know, that's stretching it for a lot of organisations. And I think one of the cool things about Black Counsel Forum, people that went last year said this to me, they said, my God, this is the first time that I've ever been in a room full of black lawyers. And remember that lawyers go to conferences all the time. It's, you know, we have to do that to network and to keep on top of, you know, developments in the law and in the profession generally. But here is an environment where, you know, you're going to be surrounded by 200-300 people that look like you, and therefore, like with any network, you know, if it's an easier, more simplistic, I think, networking environment for you to be in. It's a very comfortable space, and for one weekend out of the year, we're giving people that comfortable space. And also, one of the ethos that we have around Black Counsel Forum is that it's not just about what you can gain from coming, but it's what can you contribute, what can you give back. And for that reason, I'm really careful about choosing the faculty. I have made sure that only people who I know that are willing to invest in other lawyers are invited to be on the faculty.
Yeah, is it easy to get people to help out with it? Are they generally quite open?
Yeah,
how does that conversation go?
Well, I run a lawyers group called SLG for senior lawyers anyway.
Yeah.
And I have about 95 senior black lawyers on that group.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's been a community that I've been building for about 6 years. And everybody on there is invested in building the careers of all lawyers, really, because they're mostly partners in General Counsel. But they're invested in younger black lawyers. A lot of those are their mentors, their sponsors already.
Yeah.
And so that was my first source, my first resource for faculty, people within my own network who I know. And since then, that's expanded. But absolutely, I'm very selective and very picky about who comes into that faculty. And also, I always make the point, and you'll hear this when I do my opening welcome at Black Counsel Forum, is that you have to give back. You must always, give without the expectation of receiving it. We'll come back to you in time, but I want it to be an environment where we are going to proactively help each other. Think about, who's in your network, who can you introduce them to. And in fact, my keynote speaker, who is my mentor and inspiration for this conference, Wharton Bellamy, at the end of the conference last year, he said to people, go and find 3 people in this room and meet them, connect with them, and see what you can do to help drive their careers forward. So you were very proactive about that networking and community building, so people feel part of this team.
That's really nice. I think it's really important for people to lead by example and to help others out as well. Especially, you see some people kind of getting to the top who've maybe struggled, often cutting the ladder out from beneath them, and I've made it, and that's all that matters. So I think it's really nice that you've got people who are King's Counsel, managing directors at investment banks, and senior GCs who are willing to actually give back, to share their knowledge and their experiences for the betterment of the community. So I think that's a really, really nice thing.
I just wanted to say, sometimes I think as well the pushback can be when you're at the top. You mentioned sometimes you're at the top on your own, and you're not seeing people like yourself. So it's harder, well, there's fear maybe in trying to pull other people up with you, I think. I don't particularly feel like that, but I think that can sometimes be the issue, and the issue is that we don't have enough people, black people at the top, so that pushback is often, it feels sometimes maybe that they're being threatened in their position, maybe. I don't know, but I think two points I'd make on that. One, I think that's the beauty of Black Counsel Forum. So what you have there is very highly talented black lawyers. Black lawyers are motivated to advance their careers, right? They're not going to come and spend the money on a ticket unless they feel strongly about their career development. So there's a pool of talent. So any senior black lawyer who comes to me and says, I can't find black talent or whatever, well, there it is. It's been handed to you on a plate across all tracks of the profession, across all practice areas, all disciplines, from family law, criminal law to M&A, banking and finance. It's all represented in that room. To the point that you make about sort of the singular presence of black lawyers and not wanting to recruit other black lawyers, I think that's changing. I think as a community we used to be quite self-conscious about having other black people in our teams, which sounds ludicrous to other people, but I think there was that sensitivity, particularly of that talent, because I think for our community, we always feel that if one black person fails or does something, then the whole community gets tarred with the same brush, and so that's something so people are very sensitive to that, I think. And also, there was always this thing that, oh my God, people see more than
3 black people together sort of round the water cooler. They must be planning something.
Oh my God, I felt like
and
that,
that sort
I
of,
felt like that one time when I was in not with you.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for clarifying.
When I was interning, I was actually at an asset management firm, and naturally I gravitated to a lot of the black people there, and there was maybe about 4 or 5 of us on the same floor. We would always gather for lunch, and we're laughing and people would look at us. You could just feel it. So I've definitely felt that.
I think because our difference is so obvious, if it was a group of guys just talking about football or something, nobody would really say anything. But I think, and maybe it's just our self-consciousness about it. But I think things are changing, and I think a lot of black leaders that I speak to now are very invested and wouldn't feel comfortable if they hadn't invested in people coming up behind them. And it's all about talent. Nobody's asking you to give people an opportunity who are not qualified and experienced, but it's just giving everyone a fair crack of the whip.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And speaking of talent, the legal recruitment landscape is constantly evolving. So how can legal recruitment companies like Montresor sort of partner with organisations such as the Black Counsel Forum to ensure that we can support career growth and opportunities of black lawyers?
Well, I think the role of recruiters and headhunters is absolutely vital, isn't it, to the career progression of black lawyers. We've got to be exposed to those opportunities. We've got to hear about them. We've got to be on those shortlists. Otherwise, how are we going to progress our careers? And I think organisations like ours being known to organisations like yours means that we have the resource. You're coming to the conference this year, so you're going to have the opportunity to meet all of our top talent in the country, and they will know you. So I think that kind of partnering is really important. It gives you credibility in that community, so that you're uppermost in the minds of black lawyers. They Montresor invested, they must be interested in black talent, and I think that's important. I think it's around the networks, isn't it? Because for me, in my experience, over the years, I've normally only ever been either the only black lawyer, or sometimes in bigger teams, maybe there's been 1 or 2 others. One thing I have noticed though is that with white men in particular, they've hardly even gone through recruiters to get jobs. They have got roles because they've been tapped on the shoulder. I've lost copious amounts of resource this way. Oh, well, my friend works at such and such, and he's got a role doing XYZ, a senior role. I'm off, see you. They've not even necessarily gone through recruiters. They've got those extensive networks already, from family networks, university networks, and so on, which open the doors in a way that I think black lawyers are potentially more reliant on recruiters and on headhunters. So it's really important that recruiters and headhunters know where we are in these organisations. They know what we're doing at the moment. They know our hopes and dreams. What are the roles that we're looking for, so they can plug us in to those opportunities.
Okay, and I think we were speaking candidly beforehand about maybe the reputation of legal recruitment businesses previously for black lawyers, and continuing even at the moment. What's been sort of your experience and your network's experience with legal recruitment businesses previously, and why has there been a bit of a disconnect in the past?
It's funny that, isn't it? Because when I speak to organisations, they would always say, oh, they can't find black talent, particularly sort of senior manager and above. It's, where is the black talent? And I'm like, well, the recruiters are out there. Shouldn't they be able to source black talent? Surely that's a win-win for both the recruiter and for the companies and firms. But I'm still hearing those challenges out there. I mean, people that I know that are general counsels and partners, they seem to get sort of, tapped on the shoulder quite regularly nowadays. I think people know where they are, and those kinds of people are building quite high profile, so they'll get regularly approached. I'm still not clear on how easy it is for the others, because I'm hearing the end users are saying they can't find black talent. So there's obviously a disconnect here somewhere. And I don't know what it's like right now in the market. I'm not going to comment on something I don't know, but I always get the feeling that before, recruiters would place people who they felt were quite easy to place.
A cultural fit in inverted commas.
A cultural fit, and that was the days before corporations and firms are saying we specifically want diverse talent. But in days gone by, I think it would just be, what's the easy fit? Do they go to, they went to this university, they trained at that firm, then they went on and did X, Y, Z. The pathway was quite set, but of course those pathways are in themselves not diverse. Because if you're saying, well, you have, did you go to Durham or Bristol or Oxbridge, and then did you train at a Magic City firm? When you look at all of the criteria that gets put out there that a recruiter might look at, and then exclude everything else, you automatically are excluding a diverse pool. And I just think the tendency is to go for the path of least resistance. You want to place well, you're running a business, not a charity.
I think that's always been an issue in hiring generally. It's a lot easier to hire people kind of like yourself, or who you feel fit the mould, and all of a sudden you've got people who just like talking about football and going to the pub, and they're all a certain kind of person. And also it does, unfortunately, there's a wider problem with, if you look at, say, the law firm they qualified at, how did they get into that law firm? Oh, they went to a top university. How did they get to that top university? They went to a really good school. How did they get to that school? maybe paid for it, or knew someone there, or there's all these connections on the way up which kind of lead you to one place. So I think it's really important to try and work at changing that way of recruiting and finding talent.
Yeah, and I think, can I just say one other thing on that, actually, is that one thing that recruiters always do, at least when I've spoken to them, is that they will say, do you have any friends? Who else can who do you have in your network that you can connect me with?
Yeah.
Give me 3 or 4 names. And of course, you're going to give 3 or 4 names of your friendship group, right? Or people that you respect, and people that... So it's like a self-fulfilling... If that is how recruiters are building their networks, that is really self-fulfilling. Yeah, because then if you're not plugged into those networks, you're not. So I think one of the things that recruiters have to do, and you're doing it, is just expanding your networks out of people's friendship groups and their little networks that they've built from previous places that they've worked. You've really got to break out of that to be able to find and locate diverse talent.
I agree. And in what ways does the Black Counsel Forum provide professional development? Have you got success stories that you could tell us about?
It's only we had one conference, and the feedback was phenomenal in terms of the content. And I've heard quite a few personal stories, and I think you yourselves will hear more personal stories this year, but people that were, one guy, for example, who was kind of on the partnership track last year, but feeling a bit kind of worn out and exhausted and unmotivated by it all, came to BCF, and we had a panel called Pathway to Partner, and we had a few other panels as well, and he was just saying that hearing some of the journeys of the partners there, it had been tricky. Being a law firm partner is not easy for anyone, but when he heard them talking about how actually it was worth it, despite all of the hurdles that they've had to gone over, he felt really inspired and motivated, and he was able to connect with a few other partners there who he kept in contact with and who really helped him through that last stage of that process. So that really warmed my heart to hear that, how he came in quite, drained, but then just came out full of enthusiasm just after one day, and he's just built an amazing network of friends, and quite a few. I heard that from quite a few people that they came there and they have built an amazing what Wharton Bellamy referred to as a pit crew. You know, he says you need your pit crew. You've got to have that. You know, and when you're making decisions about your next career move, or you are just having challenges, having that pit crew is really important. And Black Counsel Forum gives you an amazing space to build that pit crew, to build that personal board of directors of people, peer levels, people that you can mentor, people that are further on in their career than you. So I think and one girl actually built, she set up a WhatsApp group following BCF 22. She has about 20 women on it now who are just really supportive of each other. They're all at a similar stage in their career. Nice, and it provided the facility for them to do that. So, and I think as years go on, I mean, the thing with BCF, it's an annual event. It's going to build, and the same core of people will come back again year after year and build as it expands. But you just begin to build that really close family, that community, and you'll see people's careers progressing and see how they've used the learnings and the inside track sort of know-how and knowledge to accelerate their careers. And so I will have many more of those stories for you if we come back into this space again next year.
Hopefully we'll get to hear some for ourselves as well. So looking forward to that. So how many people are you expecting at the event? 250
delegates. And almost 50 faculty members. So there will be about 300 altogether. And the reason why, I mean, we sold out of this conference a few weeks ago, and I've had to go back. I've got a waiting list at the moment of over 100 people.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And I've had to go back and negotiate extra capacity with the hotel, which has been a bit of a struggle.
I can imagine.
Because it was already getting quite full when we first spoke quite early on. You were saying people need to get...
and I think because, people are quite last minute, particularly barristers, the caseload and whatever. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to cap it off at that, and I'm just trying to go through the wait list at the moment, and as places become available, I'm allocating them. But I think I need to get a bigger venue next year. That's the learning for myself.
Next stop, Wembley.
Bring it on. I love that.
Brilliant. No, that sounds good. And a lot of what you talked about is kind of mentorship and leading from the front. Who's been a good mentor for you?
For myself, I would say definitely, as I said, Wharton Bellamy and his wife Kelly Walker. Although they're in the States, they are just amazing trainers and just a huge inspiration for me. Kelly's on her 5th general counsel role. And just knows the in-house world sort of inside out. And Wharton's just a great business mentor, but he's also a trainer for lawyers. So they have been hugely inspirational in my life. When I worked at Accenture, I used to invite Wharton to come over and train not only the lawyers but also the consultants, because the model, in terms of how you're allocated to projects, it's very similar. Law firms and consultancies work in a very similar way. And the training that he gave was amazing. So those are the people that I've looked to for mentorship, as well as I've got some great peers right here in London. Paulette Maston, who, although she's a partner in private practice, has been hugely influential in the black legal space. She was the chair of the Black Solicitors Network for quite a while, did amazing things there. And when she was at Linklaters, she made a huge contribution to the lives of so many black lawyers. She's a great inspiration to me. And then I would say Sharon Blackman, who is an MD at City and on my advisory board, as well as Paulette. has been a great mentor to me in terms of my in-house career. She has just great interpersonal and leadership skills,
right.
people skills, and I've learned a lot from her. So I've really looked to her in terms of that management piece, because as you get more senior, it's not your technical skills at all that matter. It's that people leadership skill, it's that influencing skill, bringing people on in that, in your organisation. That's what's really important, and she's been amazing at that for me personally.
Brilliant. Okay, that's great. And what are you most looking forward to from the weekend?
I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. I'm looking forward to the vibe.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to just the excellent speakers that we have, because I'm drawn from the best and most highly talented black lawyers that we have in the UK. I'm like Harry Matuvo, who runs the Black Talent Charter.
Yeah.
He is an amazing orator, and I think I'm really looking forward to hearing him speak. I'm looking forward to Gavin Lewis, who is our guest speaker.
Yep.
I actually met him years ago.
Oh,
and
did
he
you?
was so inspirational.
Yeah,
Before I went to the asset management firm, he might not remember me, but
right, yeah,
he gave me some brilliant advice. So
wow.
it's like when I saw him on there, I was just like, I'm
that's
super
funny.
excited.
I didn't realise
mentioned
that.
it to you.
Yeah, I think he's got an amazing story, and he's an author as well as being very successful in his own career. So I think that's going to blow people away. So I think I'm most looking forward to the speakers, to the faculty, the training, but also just it's an electric vibe there. It's just amazing. And we put in our little bits, a little bit of steel band, and that kind of thing, just to help the environment. And what I always say to people from going to conferences in the US, that those real relationships are made in the bar, they're made at dinner. People will stay up till all hours just talking and connecting, and you come away with those really feeling like, I've built some good relationships, or the start of what is going to be some great relationships that's really going to impact my quality of life and my career.
Brilliant.
I'm very excited. I am, and it's so inspirational to see, just coming as a young black woman myself. So I'm so excited to be in a room like that, because I've not been in a room like that.
Amazing.
So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thanks a lot, Sharon, for joining us. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks, Hannah, as well.
Thank you.
And
thanks, Sharon. I've honestly really enjoyed speaking with you. I know we've spoken before, but it's been just nice to hear what you've done, how far you've come. It's just super inspirational.
Thank you, and thank you to Montresor for sponsoring Black Counsel Forum, because without your support we couldn't hold the event. So as sponsors, I'm just thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support. And I've enjoyed talking to you, Josh, and you, Hannah. Thanks for inviting me here today.